The David Pakman Show at davidpakman.com.
Well, you couldn't write anything this absurd if you wanted to. One day after the White House put out 100 pages of Benghazi-related emails, we now have a report, Lewis, which alleges that Republicans released a set of the same emails with altered text. Yes, after all of the obvious evidence that Benghazi is a scandal, Republicans get caught altering Benghazi-related emails. Now, I'm no expert, Lewis, in crisis management and logic and reason, but wouldn't it go against your instincts to say that you need to edit emails if there really is a scandal? In other words, if there's really a scandal, why are you doctoring emails?
I would say it's not worth the risk.
Right, exactly.
Yeah.
Why risk getting caught if there's really such a huge scandal here? Now, what happened was that there was the Republican Party leaked versions of the emails that were eventually released by the White House related to Benghazi, and they had some pretty noticeable differences to the official emails. Now, of course, some conspiracy theorists will say, no. Obviously, you can trust leaked emails from those looking to shame the administration way more than you can trust the emails that you get from the administration involved in the sending and receiving of those emails. If that's what you believe, I probably can't say anything on this show to convince you otherwise, right?
Right.
But putting that aside, here's the Republican version here of National Security Advisor Ben Rhodes' email. Okay, this is what the Republican Party says he wrote. We must make sure that the talking points reflect all agency equities, including those of the State Department, and we don't want to undermine the FBI investigation. White House released the same email, and it says, we need to resolve this in a way that respects all of the relevant equities, particularly the investigation. Why do you need to expand on something? It's almost like the Republican version of that email adds words to make explicit things which may or may not be implicit in Ben Rhodes' actual email, to try to make explicit the storylines and players that the Republican narrative has been taking, which is of the FBI, which is of conflict with the State Department, so on and so forth. That's the impression I get from the edits that were done.
Right. And I mean, it may be that what he deduced from the original sentence was what he changed it to, and he wanted to put it into, layman's terms to try and convince people that, just to try and show people that this is what he thinks it means.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And if we get past the fact that the Republican Party leaked these emails, then we say, oh, not only did they leak them, they edited the emails.
Right.
Huge scandal, completely separate, doesn't need any doctoring at all, but let's just edit some emails before we leak them. Makes perfect sense.
But it's brilliant, though. Because, I mean, think about it. If they're trying to convince the fringe majority to help them in the 2014 elections, right, it's kind of brilliant. You say, look, they edited the administration edited the talking points. Here are the talking points. Then the administration releases the talking points. They don't sync up, and you say, see, they edited them. We released the correct ones, and then they edited them to make them look different.
It is like a perfect conspiracy. That's what people will love about it.
Right.
Now, that is not stopping any number of reputable media outlets from now, and non-reputable, to be completely honest, from now saying, we just don't have anything here. The Washington Post, for example. The internal debate did not include political interference from the White House, according to the emails that were released. Ryan Lizza, that is the opposite of the line peddled by Republican sources Friday, portraying some kind of sinister role for the White House. What is becoming very clear from any version of these emails is that the White House just was not involved in this non-scandal. Washington Post. Associated Press. Then CIA Director David Petraeus objected to the final talking points because he wanted to see more details revealed to the public, not because the White House was deliberately trying to mislead, as was the narrative from the conspiracy right all of this time. Sarah Jones, last thing I want to mention on this, Sarah Jones, who wrote for Politics USA, I couldn't make this point any better, so I'll just read what she wrote. The real scandal, the only scandal, is that your so-called free press is once again pretending as if Republicans are not lying to them. They are pretending that House Republicans did not feed a lie to the press in order to forward their BS Benghazi narrative. The press is very busy and important, moving forward the narrative that there is a scandal. Oh, you might be impressed at first that they finally found the courage so clearly missing during the Bush years when they scraped the lies off of the administration's feet with subservience and deference befitting propaganda outlets. But you'd only be impressed if you didn't look any deeper. You see, there is one consistency here, and that is that when Republicans lie to the press, the public, and Congress, from weapons of mass destruction to Benghazi, the press carries their water like the corporate serfs they are. Couldn't possibly say it any better.
That is pretty scathing, but accurate nevertheless.
No question about it.
So I think that the conspiracy theorists here will probably say that the White House doctored the so-called original messages, right?
Yeah, you'll never please them. But at least we are getting more and more information. And we'll talk a little bit later in the show about whether any of this stuff is affecting President Obama in any real way.